Well, I probably would have been an Indian, because very thoughtful people within their particular tribes. And so there would have probably been a very wise man in that tribe who would have said, one day there will be a place called Berger, Missouri. And there will be this family of Laboos. 11 kids, Laboos. And they will smoke many pipes and find their way into what will be called a living room in front of what they will call a television. And there will be a football team called the Washington Redskins. And the Washington Redskins, get that green thing up there quick, I'm running out of steam. And the Washington Redskins will play this team called the Dallas Cowboys. And the Redskins would come back and go on to a great victory. So I would be that wise old Indian in the teepee, thinking about those 11 Laboos and watching the Washington Redskins.
Thank you. Lori. What's the most unique way you've ever prepared a turkey? How do you come out?
That is a great question. Probably the most unique way, as well as the easiest way, is I decided this time I would go to Stewart's Farm over here on Mission Road, where that 8-acre farm is, and they would smoke my turkey. Now you had to bring it there the day before, so of course I had to get all the fixings, and I thought, this time I'll try McGonagall's Market. And man, they have got one of the best birds possible. So you take it into, the bird's all ready, you take it into the barn, the smoker's all there, they've got like 3 smokers. There's kind of a conveyor belt of line with men and women, and between the ears, stuffing them, you know, taking the turkeys and putting them into the smokers. But it was also so much fun, because you got to be with all your friends, and these were my friends from Rotary, to enjoy before Thanksgiving as well, while you're preparing the bird, then to enjoy an even more or nicer Thanksgiving Day. And that bird just turned out phenomenal. It was moist, tender, very, very tasty. I was just amazed, and they just popped the whole bird right in. So that was the most fascinating time. Thanks, guys.
Typically, for Thanksgiving, I always end up going back and forth to New York, or sometimes we actually have it here. Chris, what's the longest you've had to travel for Thanksgiving or any other holiday?
Okay, 19 years old, living in Southern California, and I decided to tell my brother day before Thanksgiving and say, let's take a trip back to Hutchinson, Kansas for Thanksgiving and surprise our grandparents. So he looked at me and he said, are you crazy? You know what the weather's like? Yeah, let's do it. Let's surprise them. So we got on the road and we started driving. So we come up to about Flagstaff, Arizona. We all know how Flagstaff, Arizona can get during the winter. So my brother's driving. Now my brother's the kind of person, he doesn't want anybody to drive. I offer to drive. He's yawning, but he still will not let me drive. So we're driving, and he says, God, bro, why is the road so bumpy? And I wake up and I go, what are you talking about? He goes, it's bumpy. I go, because we're on freaking ice, dude. And he goes, shit. He slams on the brakes, wrong thing to do, right? Freaking car flies around like this, and we land in the ditch. And he goes, shit, my car. Hell with your car, what about me? In those days, we didn't really wear a lot of seatbelts, right? And 19 years old, early 80s. I get out and he says, bro, get out and push. Are you kidding me? You got us in the ditch. Why don't I get in the driver's lane? You get out and push. So I get out and push the younger brother, and we get out of the ditch. We finally make it to Hutchinson, Kansas, late at night, and that was the longest trip we've ever done.
I probably said this to the group before, but I'm a huge New York Giants fan. But in the U.S., it's Thanksgiving Day. There's a couple of football games. It's always the Detroit Lions are playing a team and the Dallas Cowboys. Russ, out of those two teams, who do you prefer and why?
Football is one of those things that I enjoy, but never really make time partake of. So I'm going to segue into a question that wasn't quite answered, which George had. And I want to pull the sports thing and think back to the wild world of sports, where we used to hear the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. That guy spinning off the high jump as he crashed off to the side, having fallen halfway down. Well, I had one of those experiences with one of my Thanksgiving. So here we are in the midst of all the preparation, and my wife makes this stuffing that is just out of this world. And if I were a cook, I'd better tell you what's in it, but I just enjoy eating it. Anyway, so the turkey's in the oven and the stuffing has gone in, and we're moving because we've got to be too big a family to have it in our home. So my daughter has a larger dining room area, so we go to her house. And so you can imagine all the hustle and bustle. There's people visiting us from out of town, so they're staying with us. We're getting in our cars, we're getting ready, we're taking everything over. And so the turkey gets carried out, and we're trying to hurry because we're potentially a little bit late. And we get to the point where we're taking everything out to the car, and I've got the stuffing in my hands, glass dish, really nice, tin foil wrapped up. You can smell it. It was just, oh, I can't wait. And then on the way out, I kind of looped my finger through a bag, you know, those, and another one this way, because we're in a hurry, and I'm out my way to the car, and I'm getting there. How do I open the car door? Well, I'm sure I can do it, so I kind of unlock this finger and start pulling out the door. I think you might see what's going to happen. All of a sudden, the dish slips out of my hand and falls to the. It's one of those. Oh no! Sure enough. Why didn't she use a metal pan? But it was a glass dish and crash. There was no way to pull the glass shard out of this. And it just. You know, had someone been in the driveway, would have let them open the car door, but there wasn't. And I'm just, you know, one by one, people are now hustling out, and they're like noticing, and I still live that down. They don't help and remind me of
Great answer, everybody. Thank you.
What a great table topic session. Kate Marshall, welcome to TGIF. Talk about overcoming adversity. Timer for...
Let the difficult voting begin. David, George, Kate, Laurel, Lori, Chris, and Russ were all within time, and I feel that Brad is going to have a tiebreaker to deal with here.
Okay. Everyone fill out your votes for speaker, most improved, best evaluators, as well as table topics, and send those down Brad's way. Also, if you have the forms for comments to the speakers, or you could probably skip to the tabletop or the Toastmaster comments. We have some reports that I'd like to start concluding the meeting with, and they'll give these reports from their seats. Wordmaster for today was Mark Maish. Mark, how do we do?
Well, I'll start off with doing a little evaluation on the table topics. I believe those were some of the most graphic words turned into images I've ever seen in this organization. How can you not say that when you see Kate say, really big chicken? You just and all of the others, you know the images from oyster dressing or something, everything just very, very graphic. I enjoyed that. When I go to the speakers, Melissa's second speech is great with taking, in my words, or in my thinking, an oxymoron, conflict partner, and weaving it into a story and a methodology that we can use. Very, very good. I appreciate Karen with the use of a pause. Tom, you and I share that and having that experience and recovering after a pause at the very beginning. And actually, it was one of the reasons I joined this club. A fellow by the name of Jim Howard, in my very first meeting, stood up and got started in his speech and died. Looked down at the floor and sat down. And I said, I think I can do this. The incredible flow of Bo's speech, taking adversary and moving into opportunity and then turning it into a friend. I also have to recognize Bo. It seemed to me that he was going along in his speech and he'd glance up at the word and then use it. He used it 3 times in his speech, and just that quick, it was great. Let's see. David Lynch, of course, very, very graphic with that. And on the front, fizzle, I'm going to say Tom used it twice, Roger once, Karen, Bo, and John.
Thank you very much. Yeah, when I had my pause in my second speech back about 25 years ago, it was this long compared to yours. You did recover very well. I agree with Mark. Our all counter this morning was Richard Brewer. You want to give us our report?
I had 3. Brady had 1. Mike Lynch had 3. David Lynch had 5. I think had another one. Overall, not too bad. Enjoyed the word dumpster diving because I had been to the dumpster dive report. Not for credit card information, but for antiques for my lovely missus. So.
Thank you very much. Now for our evaluation of the meeting. Anam.
Overall, it was a great meeting. I think a great flow. We have some amazing speakers, and we thank all the people who traveled quite a ways, like Tom and Melissa, to make it as possible. Otherwise, it would have been a whole lot of change. Because the first time I sent an email, it was change after change. So we got it rolling. Did a great job. A good morning. Thank you, everybody. So everything was on time. Overall, very good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the report. How are we doing on counting back there, Mr. Plum?
We have all the votes. We are ready.
Okay. So, for most improved speaker.
Most improved speaker goes to Karen.
Fun voting, best table topic.
Best table topics wasn't close, goes to Kate.
Just want to make sure I come back.
She's on to us.
Our best evaluator today.
Best evaluator goes to Maureen.
And our best speaker today.
Best speaker is Bo.
Anab, can you give us a spark plug
I
nomination?
think the spark plug should go to Russ. It's nothing like losing a whole dish.
It's always interesting how our meetings seem to somehow come up with a theme. I think 2 words today: 1, adversity; 2, travel. When I started out the meeting on travel, I thought I'd pass along a couple of suggestions for travelers. Number 1, if you don't have a passport, get a passport. Even if you don't plan to do any international travel, it's not very expensive, it's good to have, and it just might encourage you to get outside the United States and do something a little different once in a while. Now, when you do have a passport, and this is the #1 rule, and I've seen many, many world travelers get in trouble with this. Most airports, most countries will not let you